Hey, well, good evening, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally, and I mean literally, does not work. So I'm taking a break off from the workshop. In fact, I'm going to get back up in there as soon as I get finished with this. But I had some thoughts. You know, J.J. Watt has signed with the Cardinals, and you see the Cardinals already trying to make moves. You know, they've got themselves their quarterback set up. They've got themselves a great receiver. They have literally fleeced the Texans. The Texans, you know, wow, what a difference a season makes, because a year ago they were looking great. Right now they went from the penthouse to below the outhouse, and it's a travesty, and it shows you how fast things can change. I mean, we saw how the Cleveland Browns, best Cleveland Brown team since probably the 60s. Oh, no, let's not go back that far. But still, a really good Cleveland Brown team that turned their narrative around. And I feel like the Cowboys can do that as well. Now, the thing for me is I'm gonna say that the Cowboys should actually deserve credit for understanding a problem. The Cowboys, when I go back and think about what John once said to me, when you control the middle of the field, you control the field. And that's something that the Dallas Cowboys really have not done since the 90s, between safety and defensive tackle. Now, we can look back and say that the Cowboys have not addressed the safety issue very often. They've drafted, of course, Roy Williams in 2001. I think Barry Church might have been a third-round pick. And the other safeties that they've drafted have all been sixth-round picks. And that has been a problem. You know, you don't have that guy that can be that last line of defense, that guy that can help cover and be a ball hawk and help take the football away. A guy that is a game changer, a guy that is a leader. Now, here's what I'll say is I do think that for the last 3 years that the Cowboys have recognized we need an upgrade. So I have to give them credit for that. I will actually even say they've tried to fix this situation. Now, think about a few years back when they wanted to get Earl Thomas. They looked at this and they tried to make a move for Earl Thomas. They were willing to use a second-round pick to get him, knowing that he not only wanted to get away from Seattle and allegedly come to the Cowboys, but knowing that you would have to get him a new contract because he was on the last year of his, and understanding that he would probably be, you know, $12, $13 million. We understood that, and we tried to make a move for that. Didn't work out. Seattle wanted a number one, and thank God we didn't spend that number one on him. As a free agent, you know, you figured, okay, he wanted to come to the Cowboys. Well, that didn't happen. He ended up going to Baltimore to take the money, and quite frankly, in the end, that was one of those ones that we may have just dodged a bullet. I know some Cowboy fans out there still say, you know what, go get Earl Thomas, bring him in. I think we're better off without him. Don't want to deal with that. And you can see nobody's wanted to deal with that situation. There's just been too many things off the field that make you question, you know, where he's going to be as far as being a player on the field nowadays. Then we know for a season, we tried to make a move for Jamal Adams. We know the Jets wanted more compensation than we wanted to give. And, you know, there was rumors that a number one, and they were looking for a player or another pick on top of it. Well, it turns out the Seattle Seahawks ended up giving 2 number ones for Jamal Adams, and I'm glad the Cowboys didn't give up that much draft capital for him. But they recognize they need a game changer at safety. They thought they could buy him Basin Shop. They thought that with the guy who had familiarity with Mike McCarthy and Clinton Ha Dix, apparently for whatever reason he couldn't make it out of training camp. I don't know why, but they at least tried to take a flyer on him thinking, okay, this guy's played pretty good football in spots. Maybe we can turn him into the guy. He won't be Earl Thomas. He won't be Jamal Adams, but maybe he can be good enough for us. Didn't work out that way. So the Cowboys recognize they need not just anybody at safety. They have tried to get a veteran safety. They have talked about using draft capital to try and fix the situation. So if the Cowboys, knowing that Jamal Adams is going to need a new deal, knowing that Earl Thomas is going to need a new deal, and still trying to trade them for them. We know a second-round pick for Earl Thomas. We believe that they were offering a first-round pick for Jamal Adams. Then if that's the case, we know even more so now there's a bigger need at getting a ball-hawking safety. Dan Quinn's defense relies on a safety that's a ball hawk. That is a need. More than a want. We need that guy. If that's the case, then why don't the Cowboys, and we're already 1 week into players being franchise tagged, if Denver does not franchise tag Justin Simmons. Now, here's the thing. To be honest with you, the best thing that Denver could do would be to franchise tag him, because he'd only be $13.9 million, even though he'd be tagged a second time, which is below the top 5. It just is. The top, I think, is 14-something. If they do not tag him, then why do you not make a move for Justin Simmons? If you knew you were going to have to give a contract to Earl Thomas, if you knew you had to give a contract to Jamal Adams, Earl Thomas being old, in his 30s, then why wouldn't you make that move for Justin Simmons? Now, here's where it's really interesting for me, because I know what a lot of you will say is, oh, man, well, the Cowboys ain't got no money, can't get Dak Prescott signed. The funny thing is I tell you guys a lot of things, and I'm told, you don't know what you're talking about, it won't work or whatever. I have been saying for the longest time now, the best move that the Dallas Cowboys could do is get Dak Prescott signed to a long-term deal. Go ahead and make this first year team-friendly as possible, so you will have money to spend in free agency. You can do anything you want to, if you're motivated to it, if your desire is to win. And that's where the Cardinals are saying, you know what, J.J. Watt. Quite frankly, for the contract that J.J. Watt signed for, I wouldn't have been mad if the Cowboys had gotten him for that. I really wouldn't have, because he can play defensive end, he can play defensive tackle. And I can guarantee you he would play a lot better than, say, Tyrone Crawford did at defensive tackle. And I don't want to hear this stuff, well, J.J. Watt gets injured and stuff. Yeah, well, you know what? We paid $9.8 million each year for the last 2 years for Tyrone Crawford, who's had 3 surgeries. But it's kind of nice when some of the pros, the professionals, the guys I look up to, kind of have the same thought that I have. Because John Machada posted earlier today, and it's a great article. The Cowboys' 10-step plan for the offseason begins with Dak. In order for the Cowboys to max out its potential in 2021, it needs to sign Dak Prescott as soon as possible to create salary cap space. That's what I've been saying for the longest time. And this is where I actually believe that the Cowboys are working on getting that just thing done before that March 9th date, so they can free up money, because I'm telling you, I'm trying to tell you, it's going to be a depressed free agent market. And I believe that this is the chance to go ahead and get guys that are game changers. Now, when you talk about this, now I want you to think about this. Let's say, hypothetically, the Cowboys do sign Justin Simmons. He does get let go by Denver. Do you understand what he has done over the last 2 years? Now, this past year was his first Pro Bowl year. But you're talking about a guy who's gotten 7 interceptions in 2 seasons, 5 this past year, 186 tackles, and hasn't missed a game. Could you imagine what that would do for our defense right there? And that, my friends, would be problem number 1 that you not only take care of, You take something that's truly a weakness and now make it a strength. And for about $14 or $15 million, I dare say that's a contract that's worth investing on. Cowboys understand we have a problem at safety. Now, the question is, how do we fix it? If you get him, a guy that's proven that will fit your system, that's a ball hawk, you can scratch that off the list. And now, with the draft picks that you have, maybe you move back in the draft. Maybe there's a guy that you look at because you're going to have basically, with the exception of quarterbacks, the top two of almost any position. You can take care of your defensive tackle. You can take care of your offensive tackle. You can take care of linebacker. You can take care of cornerback. It opens up the things you can do in the draft, and it truly will make you a better team. We can't do what we've been doing, which is bargain basement shop, blue light specials with the defense anymore. We got to fix this shit if we're ever going to get a Super Bowl again. All right, y'all. Hope you guys tune in tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern, for our live stream. Because when we talk about this, we'll find out if there's any progress on the Dak Prescott contract situation. We know that Dak Prescott is walking around and at quarterback camps and everything else. He's looking good, and it's ahead of schedule. So the only holdup now is, will they get him signed? All right, we'll talk about that tonight. I'll see you soon.